Good morning. Am I audible to all of you? Okay. So today we will practice on some critical reasoning questions. There are total of 15 questions that we have today. And I would also like to tell you that the questions that we will practice on today, they tend to be on the more difficult side. So these are generally questions that are on the difficult side. So I'll give you ample time. Let's start with the first five questions. We'll take up five questions at a time. You can check. I have given you the right. Question number one, two, three, four, and five. I think you'll need around 15 minutes. So 9:45 is going to be the time when we'll start the discussion. Okay. Question one to question number five. Please start. Okay. Are we done with question one to five? Should we discuss? Right. So let's see what he's trying to say. In question number one, he's saying that something very paradoxical is happening. What is the paradox? The paradox is that according to police, if you have automobile anti-theft device in your car, then it will reduce the risk of car theft. But what is paradoxical is that when you look at the automobile insurance industry, their studies say that those cars that are equipped with anti-theft devices, those cars are more likely to be stolen than cars that are not so equipped. So it becomes paradoxical that how is it possible that a car that is equipped with anti-theft device is more likely to be stolen. Now he's telling you which one of the following is true, does the most to resolve the apparent paradox. So which one provides you with a reason to explain why this is happening? That even though the cars have anti-theft devices, these are the same cars that are more likely to be stolen. What do you think? Mohit, you marked D. Nikita, you marked C. Arpita, you marked E. Okay. Now, please understand. Uh, if you see in this, paragraph, he has told you that anti-theft devices, they're effective. Okay, they are effective. That means they reduce the risk of car theft. If you mark number C, if you mark number E, if you mark number C and E, then you are assuming that these anti-theft devices are not effective. The question is not that they are not effective. The question is that those cars that have anti-theft devices, they are more likely to be stolen. Whereas according to police data, when you have anti-theft devices, it will reduce the risk of car theft. So C and E, both of them, they actually are trying to prove that the anti-theft device is not working. The anti-theft device is not effective. So if that is what you want to prove, then how are you going to select whether the answer is going to be C or whether the answer is going to be E? Because both of them are saying the same thing. C and E are going to say are going to say the same thing. Okay, are you getting this? So C and E cannot be the answer. C and E cannot be the answer. Okay, answer for this question, rightly marked by Mohit, is D. Why? Because number D tells you that those automobile owners who have theft prone cars and they live in areas of greatest incidence of car theft, these are the owners who will have anti-theft devices installed, which means the cars that are being stolen, they are actually uh, cars from those areas where there's greater incidence of car theft, right? And even though you have anti-theft devices, which normally makes reduces the risk of car theft, but because these people live in theft prone areas, that is why we see more number of cars being stolen, even though these cars have anti-theft devices. So number D is actually giving you an explanation why cars that even though they are equipped with these anti-theft devices, these cars are being stolen. Answer for this question should be D. Please check. If you do not understand anything, please ask. So explain A and B also. Okay, I will explain A and B also. Now see, what is happening is he is telling you that there are cars that are not that do not have anti-theft devices. Okay, there are cars that do not have anti-theft devices, and the strange thing is that these cars that do not have anti-theft devices, they are not stolen. They are normally not stolen. This can only happen if these cars, even though they do not have anti-theft devices, these cars they are parked in the areas where generally the the incidence or the rate of cars being stolen is low. That will explain why, even though these cars are not equipped with anti-theft devices, they are not generally stolen. Whereas if I live in an area which sees lots of car thefts, okay, it sees lots of car thefts, then what will I do? My first instinct will be that I will install an anti-theft device. So, so if there are 100 cars in this area, and out of these 100, 90 of them have installed anti-theft devices, but because these 100 cars are in areas where generally you'll find a greater incidence of car theft, then even though 90 of them have anti-theft devices, let's say 40 of them will be stolen. And it's possible that there are thousands of cars that do not have anti-theft devices, but they are parked in areas where normally you don't see car thefts. So even though these thousands of cars do not have any anti-theft devices, they will, even if you, let's say 20 or 30 of them are stolen, when you actually see, you'll see that this is a lower figure in comparison to the 40 that you see here. This explains why those cars that have anti-theft devices, they are more likely to be stolen. Okay, Nikita, you had a question. Okay, I could not make out how option C proves that the alarm is faulty. I just took the alarm to be functioning that way. Okay, number C is saying the most common automobile anti-theft devices are audible alarms, which typically produce 10 false alarms for every actual attempted theft. So what does this prove? What does this prove? Because see, if this device produces false alarms, then what happens? That means that these devices are less valuable as crime prevention devices. Yes or no? That means they are as good as not having an anti-theft device. Whereas crux of the passage is the crux of the passage is that according to police statistics, if you have anti-theft devices, then it reduces the risk of car theft. Whereas in number C, these devices are not working properly. They are not working properly means they are not effective. Okay. Okay. Now A and B also. A and B also. Number A, Mohit. Number A. How does number A resolve resolve the paradox? In fact, it does not resolve the paradox. It makes the paradox more complicated. Because number A is saying that the owners of stolen cars, they will report the theft immediately to the police, but they will delay notifying the insurance company in the hope that the vehicle will be recovered. So if the insurance company does not get all the reports, or if they get delayed reports, then how is the insurance company report saying that more cars are being stolen? It's quite the opposite. So if there are 100 reports to the police, let's say that there are going to be 20 reports to the insurance company, then how can the insurance company say that there are more number of thefts? It's not possible. So number A also is not possible. Okay. Number B. Number B says most cars that are stolen are not equipped with anti-theft devices. But this does not prove anything, because the question is not about those cars that are not equipped with anti-theft devices. The argument is that even though cars are equipped with anti-theft devices, they are still stolen. Okay, so number B does not address the question at all. That is why number B is also wrong. Are you getting this? Is it clear now why D is the answer? Okay. So question number 1, answer will be D. If you still have any problem, please ask. I'm in no hurry. Let's come to question number 2. Question number 2 is not very difficult. It says, in the past, lots of scientific discoveries happened through serendipity. Okay, what is serendipity? Serendipity is the chance discovery of valuable findings that were not purposely sought. So when you find something by chance, then it is called serendipity. You have found it through serendipity, by chance, by luck. So lots of discoveries in the past were because of serendipity. But now the problem is, these days, scientific research is so costly that investigators, they need funds. They need funds for the research. And when they need funds, they will have to tell the sponsors. They will have to tell the sponsors. They will have to give the sponsors clear projections of what is going to be the outcome of the proposed research. They will have to specify clearly that this is what we are looking for. Okay, and that is why these investigators, these researchers, they will ignore anything that does not directly bear on the funded research. So they will not take into account those things that does not have an impact on the research. And because serendipity is something that happens by chance, that means under prevailing circumstances, serendipity will no longer play a role in scientific discovery. That is what he's trying to say. Because how can you give a clear projection of something that will happen through serendipity? Because serendipity is something that happens by chance. You don't know. You can't say. And that is why he's concluding that serendipity will no longer play a role in scientific discovery. Is this clear? So the question is, what is the assumption of this argument? Very simple. What is he assuming? What is he assuming? When he's saying that serendipity will not play a role in scientific discovery, number E से सोच सकते हैं. Serendipity will no longer play a role in scientific discovery. Why? Why is he saying this? The reason is that investigators will ignore anything that does not have impact on the funded research, or that does not directly bear on the funded research. Answer for this question cannot be C. Answer for this question should be A. He is assuming, the author is assuming that only those findings that an investigator purposely seeks can directly bear on that investigator's research. He is assuming, when he says that serendipity no longer plays a role in scientific discovery, then he is assuming that only those things for which we have made clear projections, only those things are the things that will have most of the impact on the research. Other things are immaterial. This is what he is assuming. It should be number A. Number C is not right. Number C is saying dependence on large grants is preventing investigators from conducting the type of scientific research that those investigators would personally prefer. Okay, so now we are assuming that investigators would prefer serendipity. Number C is based on our assumption. We believe that investigators want serendipity included, but that's not true. That is not the assumption of the author of this paragraph. That is what we are assuming. That is why C cannot be the answer. Did you understand? Answer for this question has to be A. Okay, Anirudh, you mark number E. Number E, he's saying in general, the most valuable scientific discoveries are the product of serendipity. Which one is most valuable? The assumption is not which one is most valuable. How can you say that the most valuable scientific discoveries are serendipity, are the product of serendipity? He simply says that many major scientific discoveries were the product of serendipity. That does not necessarily mean that those discoveries that are product of serendipity, they are necessarily most valuable. No, number E cannot be an assumption. Okay. Did you understand why A is the answer for question number 2? Anybody has a doubt, please ask. Question number D. Okay, Chaitanya. All scientific investigators. Okay. All scientific investigators who provide grant sponsors with clear projections of the outcome of their research receive at least some of the grants for which they apply. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I may be a scientific investigator, and I have told you that these are the objectives of the research. You may or may not provide me grants. So number D, we cannot say with certainty. It simply says that if you want grants, then you will have to provide clear projections. That does not mean that if you have provided clear projections, then you'll automatically get the grants. No, this is just like saying if you drink and drive, there will be an accident. If there has been an accident, does it necessarily mean that you were drinking and driving? No. So number D is trying to say something of that sort. Number D is saying that when the investigators, when they provide clear projections, then they will receive grants. That's not always true. They may or may not receive the grants. So D also is not right. Okay. Did you understand why answer is A for question number 2? Okay. Question number 3. Question number 3. What is he saying? Defendants who can afford expensive private defense lawyers have a lower conviction rate than those who rely on court appointed public defenders. This explains why criminals who commit lucrative crimes like embezzlement or insider trading are more successful at avoiding conviction than are street criminals. So according to this passage, what makes the difference between conviction uh, and acquittal? The difference is the lawyer. All the difference is made by the lawyer. If you have a private defense lawyer, then you have a higher chance of being acquitted. If you have a court appointed defendant or a lawyer, then there are more chances that you will not be acquitted. You will be convicted, right? So, embezzlement, what is embezzlement? Embezzlement is stealing from your employer. I think we have discussed this word. Embezzlement happens when you steal from the place that you work or when you steal from someone who trusts you. Absolutely. When you are in a fiduciary relationship, fiduciary means you are in a trust relationship, you are a trustee or you are an employee of an organization. And if you steal from the trust or if you steal from your employer, then that is called embezzlement. Okay. And I think everybody knows what is insider trading. Are you all aware what is insider trading? Insider trading, Mohit? Okay. When you have when you have information that is not in the public realm, okay? When you have information that is generally not available to the public, and you use that information for personal gains, that is called insider trading. For example, let us say you work in a company and you know you have information that tomorrow this company is going to get a huge order from the government of India. And because of this order, what will happen? The company's share will increase, the share price will increase 100%. So what do? Immediately you start buying the shares of that company. You tell your friends to buy shares of that company. This this information will be public in a day or so. But you are privy to this information beforehand, and you use this information for your personal gain. That is called insider trading, right? So what is he trying to say? This passage is trying to say that all the difference is made by the lawyer. It is the lawyer that makes the difference. If you have a private defense lawyer, then there will be a lower conviction rate. If you have a court appointed public defender, then you will probably not be acquitted. You will be convicted, even though you have done just in a street crimes, right? This is what he's trying to prove. And the question asks you, the explanation offered above would be more persuasive if which one of the following were true. What do you think? He's trying to prove that it is the lawyer that makes the difference. Mohit, you mark B. But number B will work for both the prosecutors. Most prosecutors, prosecutors would include private as well as court appointed. So no, both are not competent to handle cases involving highly technical financial evidence. So if most prosecutors, which include both private and court appointed, they're not competent, then why is it that private defense lawyers have a lower conviction rate? Number B will not work. Number B will not work. Mohit, did you understand? Many people mark A. Many street crimes, such as drug dealing, are extremely lucrative, and those committing them can afford expensive private players. You are contradicting the information in the passage. Number A is contradicting the information in the passage, because in the passage he's telling you that lucrative crimes are crimes like embezzlement or insider trading. This is different from street crime. This is different from street crime. He has already told you that. Now, in number A, you are contradicting him by saying that street crimes are extremely lucrative, and those criminals who commit these street crimes, they can afford expensive private lawyers. But the question is that if these street criminals, they can afford expensive private players, then why is it that the conviction rate of for street criminals is higher? So number A does not prove anything. In fact, number A is contradicting what he's trying to say in the passage. You have to make it more persuasive. You have to make it more persuasive. That means you have to prove that yes, it is the lawyer that makes the difference. It is because of the lawyer. There's no other factor. Number A, okay. Number A is actually not proving it. Number A is negating it. Number A is weakening the situation by saying that listen, even street criminals, they have expensive private lawyers. Whereas in the passage he has told you that as far as street criminals are concerned, the conviction rate is higher. So you are contradicting the information in the passage. So A cannot be the answer. Some people have marked number C. The number of criminals convicted of street crimes is far greater than the number of criminals convicted of embezzlement or insider trading. So So what does this do? Does it prove that it is the lawyer who is responsible for this happening? Yes, number C is right. Number C, that is what he wants to say. Number C is what he wants to prove. He wants to prove that the criminals who are convicted of street crime, the number of criminals is greater. That's absolutely right. That is what he wants to prove. But what is the reason? The reason is the lawyer. So number C does not tell you that why is it that criminals that are convicted of embezzlement or insider trading, why is it that they go scot free? Why is it that they are acquitted? It is because of the lawyer. So number C does not mention or does not talk about the lawyer at all. So number C cannot be the answer. What should be the answer for question number 3? Should be D. Yes, it should be D. Answer should be D. Why? Now let's see. The percentage of defendants who actually committed the crimes of which they are accused is no greater for public defended than for privately defended defendants. This means that if there are 100 criminals, whether whether they be street criminals or whether they be um, lucrative criminals, criminals who commit lucrative crimes, when you look at the percentage who has actually committed the crimes, that means who are actually guilty. Let us say 30% is actually guilty. So in both the cases, it is near about 30% of the people who are guilty. So the guilt ratio is same. The guilt ratio is same. Still, if you have a private lawyer, there are more chances of you getting out, not being convicted. Whereas if you have a court lawyer, there are more chances of you being convicted. So what does this prove? This proves that it is the lawyer that makes the difference. Yes or no? Because the percentage that actually committed the crime is the same. It is no greater, means it is almost the same. It is equivalent. But still, even though it's the same, but still those people who can hire private lawyers, they are not convicted. So it is the lawyer that is making all the difference. That is why number D is the answer. Did you understand? Now, Mohit, you said I feel D, but I cannot understand. Now is it clear? For all the other people, is it clear why D is the answer? Anybody who has a doubt? Okay, I told you that these questions are on the more difficult side. Okay, these questions are on the more difficult side. So don't get, if you are not scoring well, then don't get depressed. At least you learn something. Okay, if this is clear, answer for number 3 is D. Let's come to question number 4. I have deliberately given you very difficult questions so that you think, it makes you think a lot. Okay, number 4. Number 4, they're saying that there is a widespread belief that people can predict impending earthquakes from unusual animal behavior. So how can you predict earthquakes? Animals will start behaving in an unusual way. That is what people believe. But skeptics say that, listen, this belief is based on selective coincidence. According to skeptics, this is not a good belief because there would be people whose dogs behaved oddly just before an earthquake. Because the dog behaved oddly just before an earthquake, you will remember that fact. You will remember that fact. But at the same time, some of the world's dogs will be behaving oddly at any given time. At any given time, some of the world's dogs will be behaving oddly. So Why is it? How can you say? How can you say that your dog behaving in an odd manner just before an earthquake is an indication that there's going to be an earthquake? That is what skeptics are saying. So if you want to clarify, if some clarification is required of an issue which would be most important to an evaluation of the skeptic's position, then what is that issue which needs to be clarified? What do you think? Yes, Nikita, very good. This time everybody has marked correct. It is eel. Is the animal behavior supposedly predictive of earthquakes? Is that behavior specific to impending earthquakes, or can it be any kind of unusual behavior? If it is specific, if it is a specific kind of unusual behavior, then you can say that yes, animal behavior predicts helps you in predicting earthquakes. But if it is not an but if it is not a specific kind of behavior, it is any kind of unusual behavior, then how can you say, based on that any kind of unusual behavior, how can you say that it predicts earthquakes? It has to be a specific kind of unusual behavior. For example, if if dogs normally when dogs behave oddly, what they do, they start you know they start running around in circles. That is what normally happens. When dogs behave in an unusual way, then normally they will start running around circles. Just because a dog is running around circles, based on that, you cannot say that an earthquake is going to happen. But yes, if it is generally seen that before an earthquake, dogs will bark 60 times. There's going to be a count of 60. Dogs will bark 60 times. And you see that before earthquake, most of the dogs will bark 60 times. Then this means that the dog barking 60 times is a specific kind of unusual behavior, which is telling you that an earthquake is going to happen. Answer should be E for question number 4. Good. Everybody marked E. But if you have any query in any of the other options, we can check. Clear for all of you? Then let's move to question number 5. Number 5. What does it tell you? The initial causes of serious accidents at nuclear power plants, which is actually human error. When you look at the initial causes of serious accidents at nuclear power plants, then it is not the flaw in technology, it is actually human error. So, serious accidents happen at nuclear power plants because of human error. The initial cause is human error. He gives you two examples. He gives you two examples. He tells you that a worker at Brown's Mills dropped a candle and started a fire. And also, there was some flaw in the plumbing. So, the plumber, because of the flaw in the plumbing, there was some incident. Because accidents at nuclear power plants happen because of human error, that is why he's concluding that such everyday events cannot be thought unlikely to occur over the long run. So this means that in the long run, such accidents will continue to happen. That is what he's trying to say. Such accidents will continue to happen. Which of the following most strongly supported the statements above? So how can you say that yes, these accidents will continue to happen in the future as well? Which option proves the point? What do you think? Uh, Everybody mark A. Now that nuclear power generation has become a part of everyday life, and ever increasing yearly incidence of serious accidents at the plants can be expected. To an extent, number A is right, but it's not completely right. Yes, nuclear power generation has become part of everyday life, and serious accidents can be expected. But is it going to be an ever increasing yearly incidence? This is something which is problematic. That means every year, what will happen? You will have the number of accidents happening in the nuclear power plants will go on increasing. You can't say that. Yes, there would be accidents, but these accidents will increase on a yearly basis. That cannot be said. Okay. Number C. Many people mark number C. The likelihood of human error at the operating consoles of nuclear power generators cannot be lessened by thoughtful design of dials, switches, and displays. Okay. So what does this prove? Human error. Human error cannot be decreased. You cannot decrease human error. So, so what will happen? What is number C trying to say? The likelihood of human error at the operating consoles of nuclear power generators cannot be lessened by thoughtful design of dials, switches, and displays. But the problem is that you are assuming that human error happens only at operating consoles of nuclear power generators. Human errors तो कहीं पर भी हो सकता है ना? It can be anywhere. So even if even if you even if this error cannot be lessened, there are other areas where it can be lessened. So overall, if you see, probably we can reduce human error, and if we reduce human error, then the likelihood of accidents happening will decrease. So number C also is not completely right. It's not completely right. Okay. Damini and Shilpa, you mark number C. Please understand why C is wrong. Answer for this question should be B. Yes, it should be B. It should be B. Then he's saying everyday events cannot be thought unlikely. Such everyday events, that means such accidents, cannot be thought unlikely to occur over the long run. That means such accidents can happen. Such accidents can happen. So what will prove that such accidents can happen? Yes, nuclear power plants continue in operation. A serious accident at such a plant is not improbable. It is not improbable means it can happen. This is what is supported. This is what the paragraph is supporting. It is proving the point that yes, accidents can happen. Number B is going to be the answer for question number 5. Any other option you think can be right, please ask. Any query you have regarding question number 1 to question number 5, please ask. You want to mark D? Okay. Number D, the design of nuclear power plants attempts to compensate for possible failures of the materials used in the construction. So materials, failure of materials, but what about failures of humans, Damini? Okay, you will compensate for the possible failure of material, but it is not the material that is causing the accident. It is the humans that are causing the accidents. So number D also will not work. Okay. Okay. So what do you think about question 1 to 5? Tough. Okay. Yes, they are. They are on the more difficult side. So let's take a look at the next 5 from question number 6 to question number 10. I'll give you 15 minutes. It is 10:25 right now. So 10:40 we will start the discussion. 6 to 10. Okay, let's take a look at question number 6 to number 10. Number 6, he tells you uh, Dr. Mario Esposito is going to run in the mayoral election. But if Dr. Esposito runs, then Jerome Craftsman will certainly not run against her. And because Craftsman will not run, that is why he is concluding, therefore, Dr. Esposito will be the only candidate in the election. Now he tells you the flawed reasoning in this argument most closely parallels that in which one of the following. So this is a parallel reasoning question. You have to look for a situation which matches the situation mentioned over here. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think matches this situation, which is parallel? Okay. Now see, a very good way to do this is to make it symbolic. So I can write something like this. I can write like this. If X, then not Y. That means what is X? Dr. Mario Esposito is running for the mayoral election. If this happens, then Jerome Cranston, that is Y, will not run against her. Based on this, what am I trying to say? Therefore, only X. Yes or no? Expressed mathematically, this is what is happening. If X, not Y, therefore only X. Therefore, only Dr. Esposito will be the candidate. The only candidate will be Dr. Esposito. Now we have to look for a situation which matches this. Number D, you have marked number D. Okay. Is number D using the same technique? Number D. An informant says that Rustiman was involved in the bank robbery. Okay. So what is happening if if X not Y, Johns was certainly not involved. Okay. Since these two are the only people who could have been involved, Rustiman is the only person the police need to arrest. Is this the same? Is this the same? Think. Damini, you're saying no. Why? Why it is not the same? I need an answer for that. Jones was certainly not involved. But over here in the question also he's saying Jeremy Craftsman will certainly not run. What is the difference then? What is the minute difference that we are missing? Even though everything seems correct in number D, there is a minute thing that we are missing. Anybody can tell me? Given that only two could have been involved. Okay, yes, these two are the only people who could have been involved. This is also one problem. He is over here. What he's doing is he's adding something extra. He's adding something extra by saying that these two are the only people who could have been involved. This is one problem. And another very important problem is that if you see number D is in the past tense. Number D is in the past tense. The same thing goes with number E. Number E also is in the past tense. Whereas if you look at this passage talks about the future. It is expected. It is expected. So we should try to make it as parallel as possible. Okay. We should try to make it as parallel as possible. Now, Number C is not working, Nikita. Number C does not have the same pattern. Number C does not have have the yes. Change of tenses will make a difference when you have to remove options. Even though number D is following the pattern, kind of following the pattern. If X not then not Y, therefore only X. In a sense, it is following the pattern. But then there are other options also following this pattern. So how will you make a choice? Which one is correct? Then you will have to look at it more minutely. The passage is in the future tense. The passage talks about something that will happen in the future, whereas number D talks about something that has already happened. It is in the past tense. Therefore, number D is not as good as. Answer for this question is B. It is not as good as B because number B says the rock group Roller Coaster is playing a concert on Saturday. Okay, it won't be playing on Friday if it plays on Saturday. So if X, then not Y. What is Y? They will not play on Friday. If they play on Saturday, they will not play on Friday. So if X, not Y, so Saturday will be the only day this week on which they will perform. So over here, what is it saying? Therefore, only X. And what is X? Excuse me. What is X? X is they're playing on Saturday. Answer for this question should be B. Did you understand? Number C does not follow this pattern. Joshua says the interviewing panel was impressed by Marilyn. Again, was impressed. Past tense में है फिर से. But if they were impressed by Marilyn, they probably thought less of Sven. Okay, so this is not following the same pattern. The pattern is number B. Answers for question number 6 should be B. Please take a look. Anybody has any doubt? Please ask. Mohit, yes. You have a question? Okay, no, sir. You said no. Nikita, you want me to explain A as well? A actually introduces another element Z. According to its management, Brown stores will move next year. Okay? Without Browns being present, no new large store can be attracted to the downtown area. So if X, that means if Brown stores will move, then not Y. What is Y? No large store will come to the downtown area. Therefore, only X hona chahiye. But X becomes something different over here. Therefore, the downtown area will no longer be viable as a shopping district. So that last part, therefore, only X. Therefore, only Brown store will move next year hona chahiye tha, which is actually not there in number A. Okay. Okay. Let's come to 7. If this is clear, let's come to 7. Now he's talking about two kinds of people who actually did the same crime. Alicia Green and Peter Foster. They did the same thing. What did they do? They borrowed a neighbor's car without permission. Okay, but the problem is that even though they did the same thing, Alicia Green was merely given a warning, whereas Peter Foster was charged with automobile theft. The author wants to say this is not right. They both have done the same mistake. They have made the same mistake. Why is it that Alicia Green was merely given a warning, whereas you are charging Peter Foster with automobile theft? Then he gives you more details. He says, Peter came to the attention of the police because the car he was driving was hit by a speeding taxi. So a taxi hit the car, whereas Alicia was stopped because the car she was driving had defective tail lights. Okay. Now he says it is true. It is true that the car Peter took got damaged, whereas the car Alicia took did not. But But that does not mean that you will charge Peter. Why? Because it was the taxi that caused the damage. It was not Peter's fault. The fault was the taxi. The taxi actually caused the damage. It was hit by a taxi. Peter did not hit anyone. Because it was the taxi that caused the damage, this difference was not due to any difference in the blameworthiness of the behavior. Therefore, Alicia should also be charged with automobile theft, or she also should have been charged with automobile theft. So Alicia Green and Peter Foster, they have committed the same crime, or they have done the same thing. Then why is it that Peter Foster is being charged with automobile theft and Alicia Green is being let off with simply a warning? Yes, it's true. It's true that the car which Peter was driving, that car got damaged. But wait, but it was not Peter's fault. That is what he's trying to say. It was not Peter's fault. It was some taxi which actually hit the car. So because Peter is not at fault, okay, because it was not Peter because of whom the accident happened. So you should not charge Peter. And if you charge Peter, then why are you not charging Alicia? That is what he's trying to say. Now the question is, the statement that the car Peter took got damaged and the car that Alicia took did not plays which one of the following roles in the argument? Why does the author mention that the car Peter took got damaged, whereas the car that the Alicia took did not get damaged? What can be the reason? What do you think? Yes, it is C. Absolutely, it is C. He wants to demonstrate to you that he is aware of a fact on which a possible objection might be based. You may object to the author and say that, listen, the difference is that the car which Peter was driving got damaged. And that is why he says, okay, it was damaged. I'm aware of the fact that Peter's car got damaged. But that can be no reason to hold him responsible because it was not he who actually led to the accident. It was not his fault that the accident happened. So people may object to the author's statement that Peter and Alicia are equally are as far as the crime is concerned, they stand on equal footing. People may object. People may say that no, Peter is more guilty. And to address that, he's talking about the car getting damaged. Answer should be number C. Yes, absolutely right. Anybody who did not understand or any clarification is required, please ask. Explain E as well. Okay, it summarizes the position against which the argument is directed. The argument is directed against it. Is it directed against it? No. He is not opposing. He is not saying that no, Peter's car did not get damaged. Okay? So argument is not directed against it. He is accepting it that yes, this happened. Peter's car got damaged. That is accepted. But that does not make him more blameworthy because it was not his fault. So E will not work. E will not work. Question number 8. Question number 8 is based on the same paragraph. Question number 8 says, if all of the claims offered in support of the conclusion are accurate, each of the following could be true except. So what is not true? If everything is correct, everything that you have seen there is correct, then what cannot be true? What do you think? What cannot be true? Number B cannot be true. Alicia Green had never before driven a car belonging to someone else without first securing the owner's permission. This can be true. This can be true. It's possible. It's possible that this is Alicia Green's first offense. It's possible. So what cannot be true? Number B cannot be right. Okay. Number E, Damini. You are saying number E. Peter Foster had been cited for speeding twice in the preceding month, whereas Alicia Green had never been cited for a traffic violation. I think this also can be true. It's possible. It's possible that Peter Foster, he was twice. He was, he was flagged by the traffic police twice in the preceding month, whereas Alicia Green never actually was cited for a traffic violation. That is a possibility. That can be possible. So number E also will not work. What cannot be true? What cannot be true? If if you want to support the conclusion that what then what cannot be true? Number C. Number C cannot be true. If you say that Peter Foster was hit by a taxi while he was running a red light, that means he did something wrong. What was wrong? First wrong, which is equal. According to him, the first wrong, which is equal, is that they have taken car without permission. So Peter and Alicia, as far as this first offense is concerned, they are equal because both have done the same thing. Then why is it that Peter is being charged with automobile theft and Alicia is being let off with merely a warning? Number C, number C is saying that the second thing wrong which Peter did was that he was running a red light, and when he was running a red light, then he was hit by a taxi. So number C is saying Peter is at fault. Peter is at fault. In fact, he is more at fault than Alicia because Alicia Green, she drove with extra care to avoid drawing the attention of the police to the car that she had taken. So Alicia Green, एक offense तो दोनों का बराबर है, but the second offense is that Peter was running a red light, and if he was running a red light, then he should be given a more severe punishment in comparison to Alicia Green. So number C cannot be true if you want to support the conclusion. Did you understand? Anybody who has a doubt? Anybody requires clarification? You have a doubt in the passage, yes? Mohit, what is the doubt? Should I take you back to the passage here? You borrow a neighbor's car without permission. Huh? You can borrow without permission. You can borrow with permission and you can borrow without permission. Borrow means that you take it. When you borrow without permission, that is stealing. Borrow means to take something from someone. Okay. Number 9. Question number 9. What is the office manager saying? I will not order recycled paper for this office. Why? Our letters to the clients must make a good impression, so we cannot print them on inferior paper. So office manager believes that recycled paper is inferior. From this we can understand that the office manager feels that recycled paper is inferior paper. Now what is the stationery supplier saying? He's saying that listen, recycled paper is not necessarily inferior. In fact, from the beginning, the finest paper has been made of recycled material. It was only in the 1850s that paper began to be made from wood fiber, and then only because there were no longer enough rags to meet the demand for paper. This is what the stationery suppliers say. Now the question is, in which one of the following ways does the stationer's response fail to address the office manager's objection to recycled paper? So the stationer has told you something, but still he has failed to address the office manager's objection to recycle paper. In which way? What do you think? Number D. Okay. It presupposes that the office manager understands the basic technology of paper manufacturing. That is how it is failed to address. Okay. How? Is that true? No, but even if the office manager does not understand the basic technology of paper manufacturing, question is how are you? Uh, because the manager might not know the difference. So the manager does not want to use recycled paper. Okay, the office manager does not want to use recycled paper, and you start talking about the technology of paper manufacturing. So when you talk about technology of paper manufacturing, you don't address his concern. Yeah, okay, but how? It presupposes that the office manager understands. Mohit, now we are coming to the point. Manager does not know that recycling technology also manufactures superior papers. Okay. Now, अब यहाँ थोड़ा सा आपको ध्यान से पढ़ना पड़ेगा. You will have to read it carefully. If you see the first two lines of the stationery supplier, he wants to address the question, but then he digresses. He wants to address the question. He starts by saying that, listen, recycled paper is not necessarily inferior. In fact, from the beginning, the finest paper has been made of recycled material. After that, everything changes. It was only in the 1850s. It was only in the 1850s that paper began to be made from wood fiber. So what is this? What is happening here? Over here, he's changing the track. Till now, he's trying to prove that recycled paper is not necessarily inferior. It was only in 1950s that paper began to be made from wood fiber. Yes or no? So he starts talking about what happened after 1850s. So till 1850s, recycled material was made from the finest paper was made from recycled material. But what happened in 1850s? That paper began to be made from wood fiber. So what is he trying to say? What is he trying to say? In fact, he is contradicting whatever he said in the first two lines. So answer cannot be D. Answer cannot be D. Is he trying to inveigling the manager? Inveigle. What do you understand by inveigle? Inveigle is when you trick somebody, when you trap somebody with nice talks. That is inveigle. Cajole, yes. Cajole, coax. Inveigle. Is he trying to inveigle the manager? No, he's not trying to inveigle the manager. He starts talking. He starts first discussing that recycled paper is not necessarily inferior. But then immediately he says that from the beginning, finest paper was made of recycled material. But then something happened in 1850s. It was only in 1850s that paper began to be XYZ. So what he's trying to say is that after 1850s, as I cannot be sure that finest paper is made of recycled material. Yes or no? So answer for this question cannot be D. Answer for this question should be B. Answer for this question should be B. The stationer, the supplier uses irrelevant facts to justify a claim about the quality of the disputed product. He tells you about the history, but question is, Question is right now whether the paper that is recycled, whether it is inferior or not inferior, he has not answered. So number B, it uses irrelevant facts to justify a claim about the quality of the disputed product. And that is why B should be the answer. He is using irrelevant facts. He does not prove to you that recycled paper is not necessarily inferior. He's talking about different things, but he nowhere proves that recycled paper is not necessarily inferior. That is why B should be the answer. Number D does not look good. Number D does not look good because if I assume that office manager understands the basic technology of paper manufacturing, if I assume that, and then I'm talking about the manufacturing process, what is wrong? What is wrong? There's nothing wrong. Okay? Yes, you didn't get the track change. But now is it clear? Now is it clear to all of you? Anybody has a doubt, please ask. I'm in no hurry. Now we come to the final question, number 10. This one I think is not very difficult. Comets do not give us their own light. But what do? They reflect light from other sources, such as the sun. Okay. Scientists estimate the mass of comets by their brightness. So how do you come to know about the mass of comets? You estimate it by the brightness. Because the greater a comet's mass, the more light that the comet will reflect. But the problem is that a satellite probe has revealed that the material of which Halley's comet is composed, that material reflects 60 times less light per unit of mass than had been previously thought. Which means that Halley's comet, the mass, whatever mass you have calculated of Halley's comet based on the reflected light, that is kind of wrong because the material of which Halley's comet is made, it reflects 60% less light. So if reflection is the criteria, then the mass calculation for Halley's comet is wrong. That is what he's trying to say, isn't it? So the statement above, if true, gives the most support to which of the following? What does it prove? Very simple. I think I've already answered the question. It proves to you that whatever calculations you have made about the mass of Halley's comet till now, that they are wrong. Yes or no? It proves that whatever mass calculation you have made till date of Halley's comet, that is wrong because now the probe has revealed that the material of which Halley's comet is composed, it reflects 60 times less light. I think the answer for this question cannot be D. Answer for this question should be B. We can be certain that the previous estimates of the mass of Halley's comet, which were based on its brightness, were too low because 60% less reflection over there. That means because it is linked to the mass, so whatever mass you must have calculated of Halley's comet, that would have been 16% less. 60% rather, not 16. 60% less. Yes or no? Because the mass of Halley's comet, it was based on the brightness, and brightness is 60% low. That means the previous estimates of the mass were low. They were in fact 60% low. This has to be right. Number B has to be right. Many of you have marked number D. Number D says the reflective properties of the material of which comets are composed vary considerably from comet to comet. Okay. Is it necessarily true? May or may not be true. May or may not be true. Okay? Because you're talking about reflective properties of comets in general. You're talking about reflective properties of comets in general. So what you're trying to say is that if there are X, Y, Z, A, B, C comets, all of them, the materials in all of these comets, the reflective property can vary. We can't say with certainty. We just know that there is one comet called Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet is made of material which is different. Whether other comets are made of material that vary may or may not be true. So there is a 50-50 chance. There is a 50-50 chance as far as D is concerned, and that is why D is not as good as B. Did you understand? Anybody has any doubt, please ask. Okay, please take a look at all the questions from 1 to 10. I don't think we have time for the next 5. We will take it up in another session. But please go through question number 1 to question number 10. If there is anything that requires clarification, please ask. Okay. So I think that's it for today. We have just 15 minutes left, so I don't think we'll be able to complete the remaining 5. We'll take it up in some next session. Tomorrow when we meet, tomorrow 9:30, we will take up one practice session on fill in the blanks. It is going to be a vocabulary workshop, and in vocabulary, we'll take up one practice session on fill in the blanks. Okay? Right? Okay. And yes, if you are coming for backup sessions, I think you must be aware that today 6:30 we'll have subject verb agreement class at 6:30. So if you have not attended that session, you can take a backup. Take care, all of you. I'll see you next time.
Music